So for the last few years now, I have been using my OSSC to capture gameplay footage from my original consoles and just generally kind of play my consoles on my PC. Now unfortunately over the last couple of weeks, at some point while moving upstairs to downstairs, I've managed to knacker the thing. I've plugged in the wrong power unit and I've burnt the thing out. So because of that, I've been on the lookout for a cheap kind of upscaler converter type dealie, and I found this. So let's have a wee look. So this is the ODV GBS-C. So basically what this is a 2x upscaler that's basically been derived for one of these kind of older builds where people were using the arcade upscaler boards and using them to basically convert analog signals for home console. So there's been a kind of modding community behind this for a while, but now this is kind of an official. And I've got to say, so far I'm actually super happy with how it's performed. It was, I think, €60 all in, including shipping, and it's got all the inputs that I need. It's got some good controls, and it's not as quite as good as the OSSC with the controls and the kind of malleability of the whole thing, but it's definitely a good wee controller. I think it's more kind of in line with maybe a RetroTINK 2X maybe, but overall so far I am surprised at how well it's actually handled the retro console so far. One feature that I actually really like on this is these dials to control the RGB signals individually. Now with the OSSC I found that sometimes the picture would look a wee bit washed out, maybe a wee bit too bright, a wee bit like undersaturated maybe, and I just needed it to be a wee bit darker, and sometimes for me to combat that I would have to turn on the scan lines. And I like the scan lines, but the purpose of the scan lines isn't to darken the image. What I actually managed to do here was turn the signals up just a tiny wee bit, and it actually made it a lot darker and a lot clearer. So that's one thing that I actually really like, just that kind of wee bit that you can adjust on the fly. Now unfortunately here I did try it with my NTSC GameCube. I heard that it doesn't work with NTSC GameCube, but I thought I'd try it anyway, and it didn't. But I've heard mixed reports about that, so fuck, I'll try it. So we're going to start getting into some retro consoles here, and this is a console that I've actually didn't think I've really used for testing stuff, and I thought, you know what, I'll get the Sega Mega Drive out because I've got a handful of decent games for it, and I wanted to give it a bash. And I think if you just look at the colours here, how they pop, how clear they are, like you wouldn't think it was an upscaled image directly for the Sega Mega Drive itself. The same again here with Street Fighter. This is it zoomed in. Now obviously you can see the edges and the pixelation and that stuff, but like in fairness, that was it zoomed in as well. But everything I think looks super clear. And again, this is just with the RGB dialed up maybe a quarter of the way, if that. But I think it's made everything kind of pop just a wee bit more. Didn't get me wrong, by no means perfect, but how it was before, I think it's miles better. Again here now, this is Terminator versus... what was it? This is Robocop versus Terminator. Jeez, how did I get that wrong? But this is a bit of a darker game, as you can tell. Like, it's kind of set at night time with the backdrop of all the dark buildings and stuff. And when the RGB was all the way down, it kind of looked a wee bit grey, a wee bit dull. But cranking them up just that wee bit, that wee tiny bit, they really made the like blood splatters look amazing, and the backdrop just pop a wee bit. So for 60 quid, I actually think it's handled the Mega Drive really well. So then I wanted to try it with the Xbox because it is obviously going to be a wee bit more challenging with a newer retro console, should I say. And there was a lot in this game that I really couldn't wait to see. I wanted to see it upgraded, I wanted to see it remastered, I wanted to see it cleaner and nicer, and sorry. But realistically, Conkers is one of my most favourite games of all time, and I really wanted to play the Xbox remake. Again here, I'm just kind of adjusting the RGB just to kind of get a wee bit darker, even out the colours a wee bit, and I think at the end here I actually got it quite right. I got it like a nice balance, I would say. It looks a bit darker, looks a bit clearer, and a wee bit more kind of definition between some lines. So again, day dials I think are a really good wee feature. Everything looks clear. Obviously it's no by any means 5 times upscaled or anything like that, but it's a nice clear image of original hardware onto the PC, and I can't really argue with that. The only problem that I found, and I found it mostly with the Xbox, I didn't really find it with many other consoles, a wee bit on the Mega Drive maybe, is screen tearing. So because this was originally a GBS controller, which is the arcade board controller, there was a component, now I'm trying to remember this from memory now, but there was a component that basically figured out the timing, like the clock timers or something like that, and that's missing for this board. So there's that one component that's missing. The screen tearing, it's annoying, but I didn't think it's enough for me to turn it down for 60 quid, especially considering the wee feature of the RGB and things like that, and it's 60 beans, like, so I can't really complain. So then, after trying the Xbox, I had to try it with the GameCube, and there was some kind of weird display issue with the GameCube here. It had kind of borders above it, and it looked like the kind of screen was offset a wee bit. So here, this is me kind of showing the online remote for it. So basically, you have to connect your phone to the ODV via the inbuilt Wi-Fi of the system, and then that kind of gives you a online remote that you can use to make kind of small adjustments and, you know, save settings as like presets and kind of go through all the things a wee bit better. I never went into too much detail with this because I just wanted to make sure the picture would fit in the screen right. So again here, this is the GameCube, original GameCube. This is it 2 times upscaled, and I've left the RGB in pretty much the scale size as I did with the Xbox, and I think everything's looking clear. Everything's nicely defined, everything is popping. Like, I think the colours are really nice, nothing seems too washed out, nothing seems, you know, too out of place. Screen tearing here doesn't seem to be a massive issue either, so I'm not sure if maybe it might be, you know, a problem with console specific. I honestly couldn't tell you, to be honest, but my main thing was just kind of getting a good priced upscaler that I could use to replace my OSSC for the time being, and I think with the ODV, I think I've got it, so I am more than happy with this. I'll include the link and everything down below, so please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.